Welcome to the Zachrilege Cast podcast, YouTube video, and interview program that features me talking to some of the best and brightest in the atheist/secular/awesome community. This is episode number 150. I recorded the show live on July 3rd, 2018. I had a short message when I posted my first episode, and this is a snippet from that first one recorded in early January of 2015. When you drive into a new state, there's a welcome center. I think for the atheists, the agnostics, the followers of the flying spaghetti monster, hallowed be his noodles. We need this. Let this show be another entry point into the wonderful world of disbelief. The community and podcasting landscape has changed a bit in 3.5 years. It's gotten a lot better in that there are some amazing shows being produced, and it's gotten a lot worse in that arguments that a creationist would be embarrassed to spout are coming out of the mouths of people making six figures a year in Patreon. Some of these arguments are ending up in the mouth of our president. Where I stand in all of this is, I'm still standing. Many shows have deceased in this time, and some of the people I talked to are no longer on this mortal plane. Some disappeared quietly, others had vocal death pains, and others just couldn't put up with the bullshit anymore. You're not avoiding the bullshit by stopping a show, but every person has a breaking point. I would like to thank last week's guest, Michael Wiseman, for being on last week. Check out The Bible Says What, but I think the pastors are catching on. This week, it's me and one superfan, Jeanne Eckerd. I'd say of my last 50 guests, she's had a hand in wrangling half of them. I come off as a solo venturer because I do all the work, but there is no show without the Patreons, the guests, and the listeners. I started this show with practically no support, no idea of how to do this, but I think that 99% of podcasters are in the same place. Every best-selling novelist started with a blank page. Because it is an episode ending in 0, let me first, and earlier than usual, thank the Patreons to Bobby, Ashley, Teody, and Hugh. You've been there since the beginning, and I appreciate you and love all of you. Jeanne and Larry are new to the Patreon game, but they are the new hotness, as it were, and are in the chat room nearly every week, sharpening the blade of my questions or making fun of something I said because I got to stay humble. Much love. Go to patreon.com/Zachrilege, Zachrilege, if you want to join the throng. Is 5 a throng? Oh yeah, Chris Watson comes in about 30 minutes in this week's episode, so if you're of the ilk who thinks that he's worthy of shunning, you might not enjoy that part. The Podunk Polymath is back, and you can listen or you can not. That's kind of the point. Intermission music, intermission music. Welcome to the Zachrilege Cast, Jeanne, and welcome to the 150th episode, me, the twice delayed episode that finally happened.
Woo!
Hi! Jeanne has about 2 mega, what's less than a megabit of data before she runs out, so this should be a fun show.
Yeah, I'll stick with you.
Mm-hmm. See, I was trying to listen to older episodes of the show to get a feel, but I don't get good out of context quotes for me. I can get them for other people.
Oh, I totally failed you. I should have done that.
I tend to just say normal things. I'm sure I could be taken out of context if I wanted to. I actually got some really good ones for cognitive dissonance this week, and I'm going to use them probably as the live read later. We'll try to be a little bit positive. But yeah, I'm here, and I don't remember if this is your 4th time in the show, 5th time in the show. I think you might be the leader in the clubhouse since Deborah could not make it this evening.
I'm just your desperation move. That's fine.
She's currently hanging out in a pool, probably, with some kind of beverage or some kind of...
Oh, I vote Cabana Boys.
Cabana Boys.
Yes.
Nice, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's sort of a clip show minus the clips. Talk greatest hits. Oh, of course, we got to start with what we have. I was in Nashville a couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned that last week. And I got a beer called Unruly Jest, which is a bourbon barrel aged with cocoa nibs. The way they spell it. When they spell cocoa with CACAO, that means it costs extra. It's from a brewery called Bamari. It's hard to pronounce. And it's not great. It's all right.
Really, it sounds like a beer that I would like. Is it just
Yeah,
what
what
not
kind of
not?
monstrosity did you bring for the show tonight?
I have. This is probably older than it should be.
It's a big bottle.
Well, yeah. You're not up here to share it with me, so this is Jolly Pumpkin Artisan Ales out of Michigan.
Pumpkin,
And
that's why you got it.
well, no, I got it because this is an Anchorage collaboration brew. So they actually worked with an Anchorage brewery company, so soft spot in my heart. It's a Belgian style beer, Biere.
Ooh.
Oh, oak barrel aged and bottle conditioned. And the reason that I picked it, Zach, is because it is ale brewed with grapefruit peel, juice, and peppercorns. So I was thinking of you and like all your weird fruity beers. Like I said, I generally like Belgians, so.
Well, we tried to start our anti IPA community, and there's a listing on a beer. It's an IBU, which is like I think the bitterness units, and the higher the worse in our case, and you probably have a higher one.
Yeah, I have a backup beer, fortunately.
That's the thing that's tough with beer is you can get a style that you like, but just buy one and try it, or go to a brewery and have a taste and see if you like it.
Yeah,
there's a large difference between similar beer styles. Very true.
This might be better with food, something to kind of mask the taste.
It's not a good sign.
No, so IPA people, try this one. Maybe try it a little fresher. Maybe that's part of the problem because it's been sitting in my fridge for a while, aging. I don't know.
I don't know if there's a big thing about beer and whether you should age it or not. And I have a few that I've been aging, and sometimes you'll have an old beer and it tastes like an old beer, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
And ideally, really, the breweries, they're like, no, we want you to drink your beer right away. And usually they've been aged a little bit, depending on the kind. But they really do want you to drink it right away so you buy more.
Well, absolutely. But some beers do age well. That either is just not a good beer or it aged a little too long. So my backup, and this is actually partly for Deborah, is it's Evil Twin.
True.
And this is Joey Pepper Belgian blonde malt beverage brewed with spices because that's not vague. So let's see if this is going to blow up all over my bed.
I like that. It's like just open the next one. Just keep it going.
Well, I'm not going to finish the first one. And yeah, hang on. I've got foam.
Now, I was going to try to do a little bit of Zachrilege Cast trivia tonight. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually find the answer. I'd have to watch more episodes of the older version of the show. The first beer I had, because I watched the first two shows and I didn't drink anything. I was like, what happened to me? What was wrong with me earlier? I was so nervous. I was trying to, focus. Plus, I did a shorter show to start. I did like 30 minutes, and then after like episode 2, we got up to an hour.
Why did you change from 30 minutes to an hour? Hang on.
I just didn't think people would want to talk to me that long. Okay, that's a screen capture, by the way. That's going to be the screen capture.
Wait, here we go.
It's foamy. I don't know about that. It could be good. It could be the opposite.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, wow. That is the champagne of beer.
Okay, so for perspective, this goblet will hold an entire can of Guinness, including head. This is a 20-ounce glass of beer. I'm having a glass of beer.
So before, and you audio-only people aren't going to get this, but before Jeanne opens a beer, she does this. She does the shake weight with it. it just blows up.
Like this.
That is not how you're supposed to treat your beer. You should treat it with reverence. You don't have gods. You treat beer like a god. So you probably treat your cat like a god, but you know what I mean.
Well, you're a guy. You should know how the shake wake works. Like it's
that's why
it's
I
this.
don't have to do it with my beer. It's not. No.
Oh.
So we didn't talk about anything but beer for the first 10 minutes. I like this. This show's got potential.
Right. So, well, now I'm going to ask, like you went from 30 minutes and no beer to longer plus beer. Was that a direct correlation? Like, just like, fuck it.
I really was going to start the show by just talking about podcasts I listen to and just to get people kind of to know about different podcasts that are available. And Bobby was smart and said, hey, you should probably talk to the people who create the podcast. They might be more interesting than you talking about it, which I totally agree. So that's what happened. And I think maybe I just knew Bobby didn't drink. Like sometimes I have this like, oh no, if I'm talking about a really serious subject or somebody who doesn't drink, I'm like, well, I won't. Actually, that's not the case. That was just that one time.
Well, yeah.
There have been a few times, but really...
You had your moments of weakness.
I think it was like waiting. I was influenced by shows like, here's a quick trivia question. What is the first guest appearance that I had on another podcast?
On another podcast, not the first guest that you had, but the first place that you guested.
Hint, it was before my show even started.
There weren't many podcasts out then. What was it?
Barroom Atheist.
And how the fuck did they find you? Or want you on?
It was November of 2014, and Susie had that surgery, and she wasn't really able to talk, so they were asking for guest bartenders, and their show,
they drink. They drink.
And it's funny, like a local atheist secular group, that was somebody in that group told me about Barroom Atheist. I would never heard of them. And then they said, hey, we want guests. And I showed up and I had my Even More Jesus, which, by the way, is also from Evil Twin. And that's the beer I had. But I had it on my desk and I was slamming it on the desk. And Bill had to play back the audio to me and go, it's really damn loud. And I was like, I think I was looking at my phone while talking on it because I had notes on it because we were reading, because they did that Bible study back then. And we were reading Psalms and you had to have something snarky to say about every line.
Gotcha.
People in the background, but it's kind of adding to the ambiance, so it's all right.
My background?
Yeah, it's just for a second. So I was on that show, and I think it was after that I was already doing another show, so I was like, what's the big deal about doing another one? So that's how it got started, and really the format hasn't changed that much. I did 30 minutes, and then I did an hour, and I tried to do live reads in the middle because I knew I didn't want to edit, so I would do little ads for other podcasts in the middle. And some episodes I would just not do it, and some I would. And then recently I've kind of switched back to where I put it in the beginning and I put it in the end later, and then I just do a 45-minute interview, which I think that's enough. Although occasionally, Jeremiah, I had him on a couple weeks ago. We ended up going, I think, an hour. So I think I don't need to be Skating Atheist is exactly an hour. They edit it to that. And not many podcasts, they stick to a similar length. But, it depends. It'll go shorter or longer. But I think an hour max is probably enough of my nonsense every week.
I'm good with an hour-ish. Honestly, your conversation with Jeremiah was... I would either listen to that one for longer, or I would listen to that, part 2 of that sort of episode. Because... you guys were having a really good conversation. But yeah,
there's definitely a difference between someone like Michael, who I had on last week, who I had never interacted with before, and I had my usual set of questions, and then Jeremiah, who I've known for years, and there's so many topics because he used to be the prophet. He was on No Religion Required, and now he's doing SJW Circle Jerk and then his own show, and he's got a social justice. There's just so much. I know so much about him, whereas if somebody's just a host of a podcast, That actually looks more like beer. Good work. And Amy's in the chat room. Yay!
Wait, who showed up?
Amy Cool.
Amy!
Cool for school.
Absolutely.
I know. That's good. So 3 people in the chat room. That's not including you, which is,
Well, I'm not.
odd.
I can't be in the chat room because I'm talking to you.
I think the show
okay. Wait. So
in quality when you showed up to the chat room. I don't even know when that happened. I had you on for the polyaskery, talk about if I could have a rest in peace moment. That's one I didn't actually write down. Like, all the shows that lived and died, and some of them just kind of just disappeared. Some shows that you have the official last episode, and some just we're done.
Yeah, we'll get around to it maybe eventually, but probably not.
I wonder if someone's having a good beer, because Chris said he was drinking a Saison, which doesn't sound like a Chris kind of beer. It didn't sound like he was enjoying it that much. Somebody's got to be having something good.
Well, I'm working on it. This is still super foamy, and granted, not the right glass to be pouring this into, but but so far the foam is tasty.
Yeah, glassware. My goodness, you go on the beer Facebook pages, and people have, and they judge you. They see you pour your beer and look at it and go, "Oh, you didn't clean your glass, did you?" They were seriously judge you about that.
Yeah, fuck
that's
being
something
judgy.
you learned about being in this community and being in a fantasy football community and being in a beer community. People can be assholes, and it just happens. And people can disagree about some things that people from the outside are like, "What are you talking about?"
Right? Why is this a
people
big
get
fucking deal?
Mad. Here's one thing they do on this page. People get beers and they chug them, and they'll chug really, really good beers. And people just get mad over them chugging this $20 bomber. And it's just that's what they decide to do. I don't get it, but that's the way it is. And I don't think people who haven't experienced them really get the whole YouTube takedown video culture. I still don't quite get it, but it's something that exists. And now that we're aware of it, is it better or worse? I don't know.
Yes,
all kinds of substances going on over there.
Well, no, I light a candle so that I don't have to keep doing this throughout the show.
I got it.
And
there's the wick just on tonight's show.
Yeah, the wick. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, can I do that one now? Fireworks.
What?
Be kind to your no pyrotechnics. Be kind to your animals. Don't fucking do it.
Oh, I remember we had a black lab growing up. We just had to lock him in because he would try to eat the fireworks. He was saving us by putting them in his mouth, so we had to put him away. It is I guess it's an American thing. We're not very considerate about other people's feelings when it's something that makes us feel good, and it's they're talking about a lot of veterans who have PTSD, and it's they might not like fireworks so much. And your pets, they might not like fireworks. Our cats don't like thunderstorms, so they definitely aren't going to like fireworks. But the good thing is we're in this just neighborhood here, and the people shooting off fireworks are a good mile or two away at least. So,
that's good. Okay,
at least we have that going for us here in the Atlanta burbs.
Well, that's the other thing that's kind of going on right now too. Is it's so fucking hot over so much of the country. Pretend that things might light on fire, and P.S. don't burn down your neighborhood. So, speaking of fireworks, firecrackers.
Yeah, we used to go to a friend's house, and they would go and spend a ton of money and really put on quite a show. It was fun. The only part that's not fun is the driving home after, because that just everybody in the world is going home
after. Yeah.
And what's better than liquor and fireworks, everybody?
Oh, don't get me wrong. I fucking love fireworks. I like things that go boom. I like big flashy things. I like playing with bottle rockets and Roman candles and all kinds of stuff. But just don't burn down the neighborhood.
We had weird rules. I bet Chris can relate to this. I don't know how long Chris has lived in Nashville, but It was like the next county over you could buy fireworks, but you could only buy them like a week before July 4th. And in like middle school, I would spend like a month's allowance getting as much stuff as I could. And then you would shoot it all off in like 5 minutes and it was gone.
Oh, wait. Okay, here's a good question. Would you go for like 3 or 4 big things that made lots of big flashies, or would you go for volume and just get a bunch of cheap shit? Or was there kind of
I don't
an
know.
in-between ground on that?
This makes me think of my beer days. You really had to know your brand. Like, I remember people buying the $40 thing that you just set on fire and you hoped it went off, and half the time it didn't. And if it didn't, you were so pissed. And so you would just go and buy, like, I liked Roman candles just because I like the different colors, I kind of like it when they all spell different stuff. And when it's super just loud, that can be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the bangy things.
The bangy.
But I like pretty lights. And I think that's one of the things that I liked about Roman candles was, you can aim at different directions because, I'm a dumbass and I would hold them. Different colors and it would just kind of keep going.
To look.
Oh, shut up, you.
Some head.
I like head. Head is good.
True words have never been spoken.
And yes, feel free to write that down.
We had that very short time frame. It was like middle school age where you would buy like stuff and then you'd like shoot it at each other, but we never hit each other. We just like shoot like Roman
towards
each other and miss. Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, I know. I don't know. You got any more quality questions there?
Well, I guess I'm just kind of wondering. Well, apparently your first couple interviews weren't memorable since you had to go back and watch them. But other than the recent,
I'm sure there's like 50 that I'm like, I'd have to like watch to remember details about.
Right, so that makes them memorable, right? That was sarcasm.
Well, I remember the first one because, of course, I've had Bobby on. I think he's been on 3 times. And the second episode, of course, Paul Sading, who kind of left the atheist community and now does like audio drama type stuff. And his show, until I talked to Scathing Atheist, was the most watched thing I had done. He had a following. And then he got all pissed and bailed out and got mad at everybody, which is okay.
Yeah, that
you got to know when to hit the damn eject button. I do not say like you need to stay and be in here because there aren't very many of us. And the way the world's going, it seems like it's going against atheists in general. But no, your life is your life. And if people piss you off, and clearly that was the case, if every other person you work with sucks, then you might want to, take a look in the mirror sometimes. But it's like this, it doesn't work. And it's a narrow thing. Like there are a few people I've talked to who somehow do this for a living, but most people do it as a hobby. And just consider it a lost leader and consider it something you do that you enjoy and you find people that you can interact with and talk with and try to have a good time with it. Yeah, you can talk about scary, dangerous stuff at times, but yeah, I kind of have to. I mean, that's kind of what the world is right now.
Do you think that some people, and I'm thinking in particular of the atheist community, do you think that we just grow out of it, that it fits a certain time in our lives and at some point other things take over, so that's why people fall to the wayside? Or is it burnout? Do you have, because you've done some exit interviews, do you have a concept of kind of what some of the overall themes are in why people stop podcasting?
Well, I just wanted to do the exit interview because some shows just kind of disappear. Like sometimes they announce it. Like No Religion Required, of course, was a pretty big show, and it's a little weird in a way because they quit doing that show, but they're, still doing their show with Jerry DeWitt. So they're still podcasting, but I guess they knew that had an expiration date. And you know it, like you listen to a show and you love the host and you think you look forward to it every week, and then you start noticing patterns and they keep talking about the same thing over and over again. Or all of a sudden you find out something about them that you don't like. Like I used to be a really big Adam Carolla fan, and then his politics just got too much. And honestly, you can't listen to someone 3 hours a day for like a few months and not go, there might be something else out there. You're muted yourself, which is totally cool. And some of the shows I listen to, plus, and she's giving me the finger, so that's good.
Yeah. I can't listen to anything for 3 hours a day.
Well, yeah, I think there was a time.
That's too much time for me.
When like dogma debate was 3 hours, and I wanted the 3 hours. I think No Religion Required was that way for a while, and I think I was happy when shows kind of dropped down to, I think, an hour. It depends. You know, like the show Hardcore History, the episodes are like 6 hours long, but it only does like one every 6 weeks. The only problem with that show is there's no break point. If you're going to do a show that's more than an hour, you need to have some kind of break point. Unless people have the worst Atlanta commute ever, that's just not going to work.
I think that also comes down to listening styles too, because some people listen to listen, and some people listen as background noise. So people who just want something on while they're at work, a longer format tends to work for them better. For people who only listen in their off hours, like I'm going to use my own case, for instance, is I don't and can't listen at work. So I want something that's a smaller format. So yeah, your show going shorter, good call.
Well, my wife does a podcast, and her episodes are like 25 to 30 minutes, and I've heard feedback at like, oh, that's a good commute length. So maybe I should chop it in half and do 2-parters, Or maybe, I should do best of type interviews. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get to the point where I want to edit that much, where I chop a 45-minute interview into 30 minutes, even if it is a good 30 minutes. Go shorter. That's what Chris says. Wait, that's not the guy I would say.
Sorry to hear about your penis, dude. I'm kidding. No, I think they all fit. Shut up. They all fit. I think they all fit different needs. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer for that. But I think that anybody who's going to be putting out a podcast kind of has to know what their market is. And overall, like if it's a good discussion, I want the discussion to keep going. If it's boring, shorter is fine. So I'm okay with flexible timeline podcasts. It's 40 minutes, it's an hour and 15. That's kind of my sweet spot. But anything shorter and that's just a soundbite, that's just that's clickbait for me.
I mean, it's hard to do a shorter show. I mean, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. Like, I don't tend to get too many guests on who aren't talky. If I have someone on who does short answers, then they probably don't have a podcast, so they're not going to be on the show. And a couple times that's happened, but for the most part, I ask someone a question, and all of a sudden 10 minutes has gone by. Yeah, you don't get to ask too many questions.
Yeah. Are those the better ones for you because you get to drink more beer, or do you, or do you actually wish that you were interacting a little bit more?
I don't know. I try not to be in the interviews where I am when I'm talking to you sometimes, where I interrupt all the damn time. You kind of have to feel it, and I like that kind of improv aspect of it, where I need to have my questions written down. I'll have 20 questions, and that's usually way too many. I know that when I'm in the middle of something and I hear something and I'm like, ooh, let's go in this direction, then we'll go off on a tangent. And that's fun to do, but it's also good to have kind of a structure there just in case. Because, it's like for a lot of people, it's promotion. You want them to talk about their show, but then there's also just current events, and you want to know about somebody. You want to ask them questions that you want the answer to.
But talking about your show, honestly, for most people, yeah, sum that shit up, people. Like that should take 5 to 10 minutes tops. If it takes 40 minutes, um, you need more of a life.
That's what we need. Is we need
More of a life.
the Jeanne rebuttal after the show's over. You can go. You can just shut the hell up about your childhood trauma. Get over it. Move on. Rub some dirt in it.
Sum that shit up, bitch. No.
Yeah. Just has to. I mean, I think if you have a show, then people should know what to expect, and that's me drinking and asking questions and then shutting up sometimes, and then trying to hit people from an angle that's a little different if they are someone who's been asked 400 questions, and then with new people, maybe being a little more gentle because they haven't been interviewed before. Michael last week, I think, has been on maybe 2 shows. And if I talk to Joey and Heath, they've been on every show. You should have been on every show. True. You've been on as many as I have.
I was going to actually ask, you said that you were on Barroom Atheist before you ever did Zachrilege.
Correct.
How many other shows have you been on?
Well, I have a giant ass Google Doc that has everybody I've talked to. It has guest ideas. And I tried earlier this week to look up every show I've been on, but I know I've missed a lot because I kind of just had to do a Google search for Zachrilege and my name. And I know I've missed some, but I have maybe 20 on here that I could find. And I was like, well,
what kind of narcissist are you?
Well, I want to remember when I've been on shows in case they ask me again. Funny, I haven't been asked on many shows twice. That's okay. I think I've been on Waiting for Wrath twice. And I was on No Religion Required twice because I was on their final episode and their equipment died for the last time when I was on, which I think is a special moment for us all.
Yes. Yes, of course it is. Oh, speaking of which, where's my battery?
Because the first...
Oh, I'm gaining ground. Good.
That's good. But I was I wrote down that Australian show a long time ago, and I just remember it was you did random goofy stories, and I can't remember the name of the guy. But Phoenix City Skeptic, Free Thought Prophet, Podunk Polymath. I heard about them.
Yeah.
There was even
Hi, Chris.
a Poised Atheist blog post that mentioned my show, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
The Poised Atheist? Who the fuck are those people?
It wasn't a show. It was just it was a blog post that mentioned that, oh, this is a show that's out that you should listen to. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's
the highest number of an episode I was on Atheist Talk. I was number 439. So there you go. And that was the earliest show I've ever done that I still had a drink. I think it was 9 on a Sunday. So
no, that was actually that was a good show.
And it's it's AM radio. I'm like, AM radio, crap. And it's you don't curse. Well, I let my guests lead when it comes to cursing. I don't say we're going to say motherfucker all the time, but I'm usually I've probably done half my shows and there's been no cursing. And then there's been a lot of cursing. And it just depends. But I like looking on iTunes and seeing that I'm parental advisory for my show. I'm like, good.
Is that across the board or is that episode by episode?
I've heard that it is by episode, but usually when you look at a show,
it's just easy.
The Bible says that it's for everybody, so they don't. I mean, obviously he doesn't curse. He's talking to pastors, but
he talks about a lot of stuff that I think a lot of people.
Well, that's true. You go, well, it's the Bible. It's wholesome, and he's talking about God murdering people. So yes,
and butt sex.
And butt sex. Oh
yeah,
gosh.
Some people don't want to hear about that.
The one from Cogdis this week was, to wear the rainbow, you have to taste the rainbow. And
wow, you just fucking name drop, dude.
Yeah. I listened to their show for a while, and I caught it today when I was exercising, and they had Thomas Smith on, and yes, every day just about. Mm-hmm.
I walk up and down several flights of stairs.
I get my 10,000 steps. I've only not gotten it 3 days this year.
Oh, look at you and your bad self.
And one was because I was really hungover New Year's Day. One was when my wife had surgery. And the other day, I think I was traveling and just didn't have time.
Or didn't fucking feel like it. 10,000 steps. I'm not even going to look to see how many
I've been walking in place in front of my TV at like 10 o'clock at night a couple of times. But I try to do it in the morning because, as everybody is saying, it's super damn hot here in Atlanta. And if you don't get up before like 9 o'clock, it's already 90% humidity and hot as balls.
Fuck.
Now, do you think it's time? Should I invite Chris on to say hi? Would that ruin the flow?
No, if Chris wants to
Is
come
there
on,
a flow?
No, Shaw. Intermission music.
Exactly.
I got you covered.
I think it was Sharon, habeas something or other.
Habeas humor.
She did the little singing her in between stuff, and I thought that's something I should do if I ever do that kind of thing. Yeah, I invited Chris on. We'll see if he shows up. He had to. I think I had to leave his anniversary show because I had too much beer and I was done. But
so this will be fun.
We were on for like 2 hours and we did like karaoke where.
Oh, I was there.
There was a clear lag and I was trying to sing like a little behind, so we would be. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter.
No.
The point was we were doing. That's the thing about podcasting.
Drinking karaoke is like just do it.
Don't try to do a perfect show. Oh no, the beard is back. The beard is back, and it's better
Yay!
than yeah. Chris of the Podunk drinking a saison. What kind of SJW are you, man?
Well, the local liquor store is not well stocked, so
the local. I've been in Nashville. You got more than one.
No, the Exurban liquor store. It's not even suburban. It's like the redneck suburbs. If you listen to my new intro, you know that.
You have an intro?
The new live show, Zach, that you have failed to mention.
I hear there's a new live. So okay, you came on. You get the plug. You get the plug. I mean, talk about having a good time.
Don't kink shame or anything like that.
Exactly.
I was gonna say that's my job.
Actually, a good, interesting can. Nice cans there, Chris. So so the show is back, and now you're doing live because this is what smart people do. Editing is for dumbasses.
Yeah, I took your lead, Zach. I actually let you take the lead instead of letting you taking my seconds. Oh shit!
I know. Now we got fireworks everywhere. Welcome to Nashville. So we're coming in from 3 states here.
No, that's her.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all me.
All the rednecks here down Main Street listen to fireworks.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to shut my window.
When do you do your live show? Is it on the same night? And are you still doing the same Pinky, Tommy, SJW subjects that Jeanne loves?
Yeah, well, so here's the deal. First of all, it was going to be every other week on like a Friday or Saturday. I'm still trying to figure it out. But now I've quit the second job that I've had for 4 years. So
congrats on that.
Yeah, well,
you gotta be.
Yeah, congrats.
I'm
Except
to do with myself. So.
Less money.
Nah, I just got a budget better. But that means I have free time during the week now, so I may switch to a weekly show again and just have it on a weekday. I haven't decided yet. So things are kind of in flux right now, but you'll get Triple Po at least twice a month at least. So you're welcome.
Woo! Yay!
Oh, and so the next guest, let me go ahead and plug that since you're letting me. Susan Turpin. Susan Turpin, who is at Motel Cowboy on Twitter. She is also a quizmaster down in Texas. I think it's Dallas.
Quizmaster? What is that?
It's a geeks. It's like geeks. Was it nerds who? Oh shit! Quiz for geeks.
Wow, you're great at this.
I don't know. I haven't prepped yet, but it's like Quiz for Geeks or something. I don't remember exactly, but it's like a nationwide thing. Like it's a quiz thing for like nerds or whatever. So. Oh,
like Nerd Trivia Night?
Something like that. And she works at Planned Parenthood. So that's cool.
Rack on.
In Texas, of all places.
Yeah.
So at the one place.
Well, it's she's an accountant, but I mean, who cares? She gets to wear Planned Parenthood shit all day, So she likes it, and she's cool, and she's a patron now. So now that's not to say that's the only reason I'm having her on.
It doesn't hurt though.
But she's been listening for a while, so since I started up, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, but you actually like prepare for like topics and stuff as opposed to me, or just ask the same questions every week. That seems like an extra burden on you.
Actually,
you can list of 20 questions, Zach.
I don't have any questions prepped ever.
Ever?
Nope. I never do.
But you do prep. I mean, you're talking about specific topics usually.
Well,
obviously, have to do some research.
Well, that's
your beard maintains all the knowledge, and you just have to like.
It maintains
and it comes out.
It maintains a lot of things you just don't want to know about. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Hello. No, I have now. It's just going to be me talking to people instead of topics. I'm going to focus on people instead of like looking for certain people to fill topics necessarily. I think because that was just too much.
Yeah,
I'm just like, hey man, you want to come on and just shoot the shit? Basically, somebody I think is cool and like know stuff on current events or wherever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too. I want to lay back.
You were listening to the conversation earlier when we were talking about like there's only so many times that you can hear the same or different people talking about the same thing over and over again. Is that kind of where you're coming from then? Is okay, so you're an atheist, now what? Like who else are you?
Don't get me started on that. See, I'm past the angry atheist phase because I'm way past that. And I don't know about Zach. It's just his show, obviously. So, but I'm pretty much, how many times can you sit there and say that Jesus isn't, God isn't real, or let's have apologetics or non-apologetics? I mean, like, just get the fuck over it. Do other shit. Just do other shit, man. We know you're an atheist. How many times can you say that every fucking week? I mean,
right.
That's just
then you get into the dangerous social justice aspect, right?
And now I'm emerging a bit from that. There's tribes. Let's not be, let's not kid ourselves. There's tribes everywhere. You got to get to a place where you're feeling like, yourself. You don't have to like subscribe to a certain tribe. Just kind of, you got to like bob and weave, baby. Like,
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
Well, do you prefer it now, Chris? Because when I started doing the show, it seemed like if I was an atheist and you were an atheist, we were on the same team and we got along. And clearly that's not the case anymore. But there's it kind of feels good to know where people are coming from and going, oh, okay, that's a person who, if you want conflict, you can duke it out, or you can talk to people who you just get along with.
Yeah, people talk about schisms and shit. Who gives a fuck? You know how many denominations there are of Christianity, for fuck's sake?
That's true. I think somebody said that in the show. It was like, yeah, Christianity has 30,000 different versions. Why can't there be that many different versions of atheism? It'd be nice if we could all kind of get together maybe politically occasionally. And I think that can happen, but
I think
maybe that won't happen, and what are you going to do about it?
Who gives it? I mean, on maybe certain very narrow issues, and this is just things in general. These are issues in general, I think. I mean, they say politics make strange bedfellows, and sometimes you do kind of get with people that you normally would not on certain very narrow issues if you're willing to take that plunge. Sometimes people are so dead set against another group that they refuse to fucking participate at all unless they meet every single, specific.
Tick down the boxes, yeah.
So, I mean, if the message is true enough, and this is not very, like liberal Christian groups or whatever, if they're working towards like some good social justice shit, like if they're fucking trying to help homeless people, or if they're trying to get the word out about, Black Lives Matter or something like that, then,
or helping vets or whatever it is.
yeah, I'm going to be with them against some fucking atheist who, like Sargon in my nutsack, who sits there and talks about racism doesn't fucking exist,
Preach. Yep. Yeah.
And that's one thing that side doesn't do, and that's like anything at all, like charity or outside of making a buck. That definitely seems to be the case.
That's just who knows? I mean, just you got friends, man. You got like for example, you got like 5, 6 good friends. That's all you need. I'm outside your other thing. You maybe have like 120. I don't know what's going on. And maybe your side pimp job. I don't know how that's going, but
side pimp job.
I don't. Oh shit! I wasn't supposed to tell them.
You know something about me that I don't know. I mean, I used to kind of have two identities because I used to have 2 shows, but now I just have one. It makes it very easy.
But no, it's better to have like a group of good friends instead of just like, trying to
sycophants.
Sycophants. I mean, I think people who share a common group of interests, it's good to narrow it down, because if you're in a certain clique, I guess you could say, if it's a broader outline, then sometimes there are still, like, schisms or whatever, and there are certain things you're not going to agree with. And, of course, groupthink takes hold, and then you got a problem. But I think the smaller and smaller you make your circles, the more you're going to narrow it down to a certain group of thoughts and, beliefs that are going to be more familiar to you.
Well, I think it's more than just narrowing down your circle. I think it's also being able to broaden your acceptance at the same time. So there are a number of friends that I have that have very different views than I do. And we can still talk about our differences in those views and why we come to that conclusion. But that doesn't change the level of our friendship at all. So the more.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just going to say, because we all come from different experiences too. So that shapes how we are going to view the world and how we're going to interact with it. And I think it's important to talk to people who have a different perspective and find out why, and not just tell them that they're wrong.
I don't like telling people they're wrong.
Oh, I do too. Don't get me wrong on that one.
No, I really don't do that almost ever. Chris, are you still involved with the Atheists Helping the Homeless? Is that the official name? Because I feel like it's in different cities.
Yeah, it's Atheist Alliance Helping the Homeless, and I'm more kind of a peripheral figure now. I kind of had to step away from that for a bit, but I don't have any problem. I still provide them with clothes. There's a wish list they have. That I encourage anybody to go. I mean, I don't remember the exact link, but it's Atheist Alliance Helping the Homeless Nashville. I'm sure if you do it, it's like a wish list on Amazon if you want to help give. And I've been to one of the things, and they actually it's not like you just, okay, here, it's like Goodwill. Here's some clothes and let the CEO make $250,000 a year or whatever,
Yeah.
Or have a big billboard with somebody who looks, I guess perceptibly special needs to make it look like they're selling it, which makes me disgusted. They actually give it.
Go ahead.
I like that. Good answer. I think you need to do a sip of beer. It's important. I didn't see Jeanne drinking her beer much. Apparently, it's not. She's not chosen well tonight.
Wait. So one of the things that I did recently is I had to travel a lot for work. A lot of overnights, so a lot of hotel stays. Here's a super easy thing to do is, especially if you're traveling for business, your company's already paid for all that shit. Bring your own shampoo, bring your own soap, steal all those little bottles, and I don't know, give them away. Women's shelters, homeless people, that stuff's it's small, but that's a really fucking easy thing to do.
I've been told it's medium sized. I run it.
So he's been told.
Oh.
He's pretty fly for a white guy.
Girthy. I've been told girthy.
Girthy. We're not just talking about
Decorative.
Yeah. So when do I need to get myself up to Nashville again? Because clearly I'll be up in the fall for sports ball, but
Oh, it's pretty
then. Well, not sports puck because I know you're all hockey all the time.
No.
Except your namesake kind of fucked up recently. I won't talk about that. Okay.
Shh. I don't know of this person you're speaking of.
It's actually the first time I've seen you not wearing a hockey jersey in like 2 years. So
Ever. Yeah.
No, I have to get another one. I have to replace the old one, which I've had for 8 years. There's a pro tip here is that you need to get the official authentic jersey. It's like $250 because otherwise the other one will wear out like within a year.
In 8 years, I mean that's pretty good.
It's lasted forever. This is from the throwback from back in before they completely redid the design or whatever. So this is from way back. So yeah, that one, the one I wore to the first recent con, the ill-fated one was that one. So I mean. There's a lot of.
I can't remember what the animal is. I just remember that it's yellow and purple.
So go to hell. First of all.
Well, it's the predators, but it's like a specific fossil that they found.
Yeah, it's a Smilodon. That's the genus. Yeah, when they were digging up for was it First Tennessee Bank or something downtown, they found it or something. So I think that's what the story behind that is. Who gives a shit, really? But all I know is we got beat by fucking.
So will you ever? Because Chris is a fan of the Nashville Predators hockey team, and
there you go.
What the fans do for their game is they throw catfish on the ice, and there was a Tennessee Titans lineman who went to the game. He brought a catfish, poured a Bud Light into the catfish, and drank that beer out of a dead catfish.
Holy shit! I had not.
Is there a beer that you can drink that would be that disgusting?
I don't even. First of all, that's Nashville's fuck.
I should show you. That's true. He's really, taking in the culture. I'd say
that is Nashville.
Zach, there's your link to. That's your link for the show notes, Zach.
What I can find the video. What my favorite part of that is all of the Tennessee Titans linemen went to the game and they're all like taking their shirts off and drinking beers out of catfish. And the quarterback for the Titans is this guy from Hawaii, and he's this mild-mannered guy. And he's probably never tasted a beer in his life, and he's just like, "Yeah, these are my guys, and I'm driving them home, or I'm getting them a limo home." And they're all acting crazy, and I just think, yep, that fits in nicely.
I need to fucking find that because I didn't know he drank it out of the goddamn catfish.
Yeah, they make it. I mean, that was the thing. So Detroit used to do the octopus on the ice because you used to win 8 games to win the Stanley Cup. Way back when. Now the hockey playoffs take 7 months. And Nashville's like, we need our thing, so catfish. And a guy got arrested in Pittsburgh because he threw a catfish on the ice during the Stanley Cup. I think the charges were dropped, but that was hilarious. That the guy smuggled in a catfish to a hockey game that he clearly probably paid like $500 for a ticket, probably more, and then he got arrested. And probably didn't see any of the game.
Dumbass.
Is sports. This is sports, everybody.
See, this is why I don't do sports. What the hell? And what is it with you? Like, you guys and fish.
Although to do a true like Patrick Crail and Chris like the beard off would be great because those two.
No, there's no beard.
They have epic beards.
No,
their beards are both good in their own way.
Can I play?
Default.
Wait,
default.
How do you play?
What?
Are there other beards?
Mine's better.
Yes, there are. There are other beards, Zach.
No, there are other beards. There's another good beard.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I actually had
my beard might be good. Zach
might be good.
Beard for shit though.
No, actually, the first episode I had like a week's it was not good. A little bit of growth. I've stopped even trying.
Yeah,
2 days shave. 2 days shave. That's how I do it. I can't do it.
You can't.
Some people can't. Some people can't podcast yet.
Practice.
They still do 150 episodes for some reason. So, Chris, do you have a favorite memory of the show other than the time I've had you on?
Nope.
And silence. How about the podcasting thing we did in Chattanooga? That was fun.
Oh yeah, that was fucking pretty. Yeah,
The fake Trump supporter threw us off.
Awesome. That was cool because I accidentally did it twice. I wasn't supposed to do it twice because there was like 2 sessions and I didn't realize.
That was my favorite. Chris snuck in with the popular podcasters who did the earlier session, and then we were like the rejects at 2:00 with like 4 people watching us, and then the old couple who got pissed because we were cursing the whole time.
Oh god,
they were so mad. And then Bobby's like, "No, this is how you do it. This is how you talk to the Christians." I'm like, "We're not going to make friends with these people. It's too late."
I was in my home turf. Well, we were both really kind of our home turf.
It was nice of them to have us and all, and I kind of wonder. I haven't heard a peep about Secular Saturdays happening again.
No,
I'm a little worried that like conferences like that aren't going to happen as much. So
I think
maybe can. Like NanoCon clearly has a good following, and I feel like ReasonCon's going to happen next year, but other like little smaller ones may not happen.
I don't know. Cons are becoming just. I don't know.
Do you think it's fatigue, or do you think it's because people are gun shy?
Well, there's definitely some negativity involved, and I don't know if you should just say go to a town and that you know some people and just hang out with them instead, or go find a city that has a good like atheist community. And I mean, there are all kinds of different groups in Atlanta. Not that I go to any of them, but I hear they're nice. That kind of thing.
Well, I do.
Go hang out with Mandisa Black Non-Believers sometime, but I haven't done it.
You have never been?
Dude, I have never been. Yeah, I know.
No, go next time. I don't. I can't believe you hadn't been.
I think they've done bowling events, and I should obviously.
Should be.
I have a damn T-shirt by them. I have this T-shirt, but I have theirs too. So there you go.
That doesn't look nearly as nice as mine does.
Well, of course not. Are you producing T-shirts? Are you still giving away to Patreons?
Actually, I have my first $10 patron, which I never thought I'd get, so I have to give him a T-shirt.
That's like beer money, man. Look at you.
I don't know. It blew my mind. He pledged $10. I'm like, shit. Now I'm gonna have to like fucking.
I should reach out to him, dude. I'll take $7.50. You do shit. Yeah, Chris. What have you promised?
I'd rather not say. Let's just say it's illegal mistakes.
Be careful what you put up on Patreon is the things you promise, because that one thing that you never thought that you'd have to do. Some asshole's gonna make you do it.
No,
I put a very high dollar amount on like per episode, and it was like I'll get a better microphone, and I think my earphone's fine, so I don't even know what I'd do in that case. I don't know what I'd do if I'd had a certain amount of success. It'd just go to my head and have a big ego, and I'd be an asshole, and everybody hate me, but then a bunch of people would like me.
Yeah, that's totally
sort of how it works. I don't know how it works. Clearly,
yeah, well, that's totally you.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, the ego, totally you. No, yeah, totally.
But I do have a 2014 Stone Russian Stout waiting for the next time I go to Nashville. So,
really?
Last time we met up in Nashville, you drank some beers that I kind of wanted to have for a year. So I need to sacrifice some to the Chris gods.
You shouldn't. Look,
the super licorice-y flavored stouts, give them to Chris.
You can't.
He'll dive on them like a grenade.
I told you, you can't put that beer in reaching distance.
Yeah, I know. No, I knew what I had in store for me when I invited you over. I know what you're about. I know your game.
I'm pretty easy.
And we've stayed friends. I don't even know how long we've known each other. It's been, 3-4 years?
4 years.
I mean, I started the show in 2015, and there's some people I knew before, but not too many.
We met at the Greek Summit, I believe. It
was like a Greek restaurant near where my parents live.
Yeah.
And I think you ate a bunch of rice.
Yeah.
You did good work.
Yeah. And it's still there too. And that's where the hot chicken place is over there now.
Yeah, the Prince's. Their hot chicken is super hot. And actually, Hattie B's, by the way, the Hattie B's in Atlanta is opening next week.
Oh,
so I may never go back to Nashville. Because the only reason I go to Nashville, see my parents, see bad football, and to eat hot chicken. Because Nashville hot chicken is a weird thing that they don't really do. But now they're opening one in Atlanta. So we'll see. It's going to be insanely crazy busy, I'm thinking.
Can I get SJW in a little bit on this? There's been Nashville hot chicken since the early 1900s, but guess where it was? In the black area town.
Yeah, I remember because I wanted to go to the original Prince's, which is in a just middle of nowhere strip mall. But their hours are so weird. They open from like 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. and I got there at lunchtime. So I had to go to a second location. And now, of course, all these places are opening in multiple locations, and they're all over the town. And Nashville's like Atlanta. It's blowing up. It's expensive. And
it's cash only. Hot chicken was made in the Jefferson Street area, which is historically black area. And it only became big when a white person decided they were going to make it big. That's what usually happens. So,
can I ask a dumbass question?
Sure.
What the fuck is hot chicken?
Okay, so
I mean,
I just don't.
There's actually, I probably should include the link because there's a regional magazine that's out of Atlanta called The Bitter Southerner, and they actually. It was either the Bitter Southerner or it was a Nashville paper that did a long article that explained the history of hot chicken. And it's like an apocryphal story about a guy who was cheating on his girlfriend. And so she made him for breakfast chicken so hot that she thought it would do him permanent damage. And he was like, damn, that's good. And then it became the recipe at Prince's, which was and it was one of those little places that became big, and then of course blew up. And
I've read that.
There's 5 or 6. There's more than that now. Of course, KFC tried to do it. There are a bunch of places in Nashville that do the hot chicken that have people who used to work at Prince's and went to other places.
2 places.
Because the Prince's was so freaking hot. I ordered their medium and I almost died.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Bruh.
You can call him.
I can't handle the hot stuff. I kind of want to take, because Aaron Ra, I heard, really likes hot food. And
he likes stouts.
He and his wife, they went to a hot chicken place and they tried to order it super hot. And they're like, this might be too hot. And you're like, come on, we live in Texas. But yeah, I do like Aaron Ra because he looks like the Satanist, and he drinks super heavy beer, so
fuck yeah, he's my boy.
And he ran for freaking office in Texas as a Democrat, and didn't win as far as I can tell. But
yeah, well,
I heard him get interviewed by a Christian couple. It was
really? It
was interesting. The only thing that sucked is it was this couple, and the woman just never asked any questions, and the guy was just asking questions, and he actually had a few different angles, which is not something you usually get from Christians. There's some theory that the Jews had a second version that they thought was pre-Jesus, but it's
what?
I never heard this before, so I
2.0?
think someone might have pulled this out of there. You know what? But it was fun to see, because usually you get those debates, Christian atheists, and you just go, okay, we've heard this before 100 times. Satan Kate was the end for me. I was like, oh, presuppositionalist.
Yeah, no, Aaron Ra is always interesting to listen to, regardless.
Aaron Ra, come on, man. Don't call him Aaron. Damn.
Pardon, Aaron.
You need a weird pronunciation of Chris. Cruz or something instead. Try that. Cruz.
Chorus.
Yes.
I want to roll the R a little bit. Chris. Maybe?
No, I like it. Chris. This is Chris.
Damn, we've done...
That's on Scottish. Uh-oh. Okay.
We've done about an hour, and I'm out of beer, so... I don't know. I have to wrap things up. I know. We could probably talk longer, but 45 minutes is my usual. I think we'll go a little longer for 150, and I'll put in the history of the show, extra stuff.
Yeah,
I try.
This is new usual. No, this is a new usual. Don't. Yeah. It's new.
Well, you're probably annoyed because you're not in the chat room to ask me questions to ask the guest that either are the next question I'm going to ask or something I would never ask the guest. So I like that. I like me to like ask a question. I'm like, no, I was about to ask that, or no.
Yeah, I'd rather she didn't because she's annoying as fuck.
Well,
love you both.
I mean, what? I blacked out.
Oh.
You do the line with friends like you. Who needs friends? I mean, don't do that.
Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I'm glad you showed up, Chris.
Me too. I'm glad you got to see me.
I like this. An hour and not much butt kissage, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Except
I have cats.
You deflected well.
Cats, you guarantee you don't have an ego. Cats let you know who's on top.
You're coming on. I need you to come on, Zach and Jeanne. I'm actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I need you both y'all to come on. So
simultaneously or separately?
I mean, well, it depends. Let's see how it goes, shall we? All right.
You know, I'm always in, except for when occasionally I'm not. But yeah.
Occasionally she's not. Yeah,
I had a guest last weekend.
Yeah, and I suppose maybe we'll talk about that off air. But yeah, I kind of want to see. I'm sorry Deborah wasn't able to get on, but I think the Jeanne Deborah, the special episode that might not have anything to do with atheism or that definitely something will happen again. Because last time we talked about books, and I think next time we might talk about podcasts we listen to. We're just going to go topics. And actually, that version of the show, I talked less than usual. Because we talked about books for like an hour, and I think I mentioned one book. And YouTube mentioned like 7,000 books. Those are the longest show notes I've ever done in my life. You're like, send me all your books. I'm like, oh, God. And you know what it's like, Chris, when you're like, oh, it's time for show notes. Oh, shit, I have a lot of stuff to look up.
I don't know what show notes are. So.
I don't know. Yeah. No one reads them.
He doesn't, no.
Like compiling them. It's more for me.
No, I do.
Well, no. I do.
Actually, iTunes made it harder to look at show notes, I feel like now. Like, you have to click like 3 links to get to them.
I don't fuck with iTunes on that.
They used to kind of show up and you'd see them in 10 signals. But I want to give people the option to look at stuff. Yeah, no.
Now direct them to the page because there's no point in putting that. Oh, I don't know what you're doing there.
Don't walk like an Egyptian, baby.
Vogan or something. I don't know what's going on.
Sad. This is the saddest thing in the world.
Empty.
I got a beer fridge here, and actually,
you want some?
Yes.
This is my sour Pinot Noir grapes aged in French oak.
You skipped it away from me.
Oh yeah, this is sound. This is the greatest sound in the world.
No, all the disgusting.
A little foamy.
That's what she said.
Oh, I did earlier. Yeah.
She said stuff. So Podunk Polymath, that's a show you should check out. And wow, so we had a polyaskery. Will we ever have a dream of another Jeanne show? Will there be one? Or are you just like you like to listen to shows, you like to pester other people?
I'm sure she'll pop up on yours or mine here and there.
Actually, yeah, I really just kind of I just enjoy talking to people. So there's that. And I don't mind the two of you. So I'll show up on your shows occasionally.
Don't mind. Well, I guess that's about the highest endorsement you're going to get.
Absolutely. That's for me, that's pretty good.
Well, you're flaky as fuck, so you're hard to pin down.
Oh, yeah.
You're hard to pin down. Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Oh,
I'm off Facebook for 3 weeks. Oh, but I'll be, no, here I am again. Oh, nope. They're like a whack-a-mole. Anyway.
Yeah, it's not like you don't have my phone number, bitch. You could text.
You live in Vermont and don't have air conditioning. I don't understand that.
She goes
like you're living your socialist paradise. Way to go, Bernie lover. I know he's not in Vermont, but I hope he's not. Is he?
I don't know.
I should
she's a hippie. She's like a super hippie.
Super hippie.
Exactly. Don't shave.
Because that's sexy as fuck.
Don't shave your armpit. Wear some goddamn pseudo Indian necklace. I don't even know what's going on with that. Native American, pardon.
It's getting personal.
Oh, you're throwing down.
Oh, whatever. She's heard it all before.
She's
I'll
already,
stick Deborah on.
well, that is true. She's heard it all before. You're a woman on the internet. You've heard it all before.
Oh, that's harsh. That's
And
true.
this is Zach trying to wrap this shit up. Okay.
All right.
That is correct.
All right.
So I just want to tell people, drink early, drink often. I'll have a better closing when this goes online. So
No, you won't.
thank you, Jeannie, for being on, and thank you, Chris, for being on. And we will beer in Nashville sometime in the near future. And I will let people say a few words before I click the stop broadcast button like I usually do.
Triple Poe at Podunk Polymath, thepodunkpolymath.com, at facebook.com/the Podunk Polymath. Jeannie?
Fireworks. Don't be a dick.
Okay. Well, thanks for that.
Don't be a dick. I feel like that's the way we should always close the show. So thank you both for being on, and we'll just keep it quiet from now on. Intermission music, intermission music. Greatest podcast of all time? Well, it's the greatest podcast recorded mostly in this house. The Literary Atlanta Podcast celebrates the written word with author interviews and let you know about the cool author events happening in Atlanta. If you don't live in Atlanta, well, it sucks to be you, but you can still check out the interviews done by Allison Law, my lovely wife. The only nit I have to pick about the show is 0 beers consumed in show history. Step it up. I have an out-of-context quote of the week. Show I used to listen to non-religiously was Cognitive Dissonance. I lost track, but listened this week, episode 419, because they had Thomas Smith on. Maybe it's a once-in-a-month show for me now. We shall see. Here's the quote. You can't wear the rainbow until you taste the rainbow. I'd like to give thanks out to the 10 of the 13 5-star iTunes reviews I have received so far. One of the 13 is me. That's my moment of ego. So thank you, RFS999, the Monkaroo, who is Prophet Jeremiah, formerly Prophet, Atheist Roundtable, Beep 3 Rocks, which is promoting secular feminism, another RIP show, Psy Lost, of the Save My Soul podcast, which is another show that does not exist anymore. Sharon of the Habeas Humor show. Corin NYGD, still in Jacksonville despite it being Jacksonville. RFR and Reason Broker, which is the host of Reasonable Risk, and Amy the Heathen. To answer the questions I got from the atheist podcaster circles, I suck so bad to make everyone else look good. I will attempt to perfect the pizza taco someday. The correct number of dicks in a soup bowl are, wait, that's cold. I'll go with 1. And maybe straight white men will get a shot at some representation for the 200th inciting incident, and we can do a dual show for that one. Or I'll be on the 200th episode of GAM, which also had their 150th this week. It's just crazy, isn't it? So thanks for Jeannie and Chris for being on tonight. I like the occasional episode that's just shooting the shit. If you want to shoot the shit or know some amazing shit shooters, please follow me on Twitter, like my Zachrilege Cast page on Facebook, send all critiques of episode 4 to zachrilegecast@gmail.com. Find your people, it's more important now than ever, and maybe I'll get that gong by episode 200. Stay frosty.